Sometime last year, South Africa and Zimbabwe decided that because of being major trading partners, decided that we should have meetings in between the Committee of Trade SADC ministers, in between SADC meetings for the two countries to discuss issues at a bilateral level. And these meetings constitute of a meeting by officials and then followed up by a meeting between the two ministers. There was a meeting in Harare 2 weeks ago which looked at the issues that have been outstanding, but which also included the discussion on the Statutory Instrument 64 of 2016. So this meeting held yesterday, it was between myself and the Minister Rob Davis, Minister of Trade and Industry of South Africa, which covered a number of issues that have been outstanding, which we're still discussing, and also issues to do with measures that we have taken as government recently. I think some of the outstanding issues, if I can just share that with you, includes the requirement by South Africa that when pharmaceuticals that are exported from Zimbabwe to South Africa or to other countries through South Africa, there is a requirement that these pharmaceuticals must be airlifted to OR International Airport. This has an effect of making our pharmaceuticals more expensive because of having to be airlifted to South Africa. We also import pharmaceuticals from South Africa, but we don't have that requirement. We do allow pharmaceuticals from South Africa to pass through Beitbridge border post. Hence, their pharmaceuticals become more competitive than ours. So it's an issue that has been outstanding. We have agreed that we will allow the ministers responsible for health to discuss and probably then come up with a recommendation to the ministers responsible for trade. South Africa maintains that this is not really a trade issue, but probably a requirement coming from their Ministry of Health, which in this case is now seized. Our ministers of health are now seized with the matter. The other issue that we discussed was the issue on a priority list that was submitted by South Africa. There are a number of products which we have applied duty or say tax, and which are of concern to South Africa. And we then demanded from them that, look, if they could give us a priority list of those products that they would want us to look at. So they've submitted a list of 112 products, which they say they would want us to consider in terms of the phasing down of duty as well as sale tax. We have examined these products And our response to South Africa was that we would want to carry out consultations, because some of these products will require input from the Ministry of Agriculture. Some of these products really will also require input from other ministries and other institutions. Therefore, we cannot, as a ministry, be in a position to respond outrightly, and that we needed time to do that. We have given them an indication that in 2 weeks' time we should be able to make a response, an official response to this particular issue. So it's work in progress, and our officials are already seized with the matter, and we would like to ensure that in 2 weeks' time we should be able to get that information for our South African counterparts. We also discussed the issue of the measures that we have taken recently, which culminated in us issuing a statutory instrument 64 of 2016, which in essence is intended to regulate the importation of certain products, and there are 42 products in number. I gave the background to my counterparts to these measures, issues to do with how our economy has been performing, going back to the hyperinflationary period, where individuals and companies were actually to start from zero, where we talked about unprecedented levels in terms of inflation. Hence, some of the measures that were taken, which included the adoption of a multi-currency system. I also gave them in detail how our manufacturing sector has been performing in terms of capacity utilization and the factors affecting that poor performance. And among a number of factors, there is the issue of imports coming into Zimbabwe, and it demonstrated the effect of imports to the performance of our manufacturing sector. Imports are not just coming from South Africa. We also have imports from other African countries as well as from Asia. We also demonstrated the effects of the removal of certain products from OGIL, which started in 2014 and went into 2015, and demonstrated the improvement in capacity utilization of those companies that were affected by those measures. I also gave them in some detail of companies that have now come to invest in Zimbabwe from South Africa as a result of those measures. We also gave them in detail our statistics in terms of how we were performing in terms of imports and exports for the past 5 years, and demonstrated that currently we are talking of imports amounting to an amount of 6 billion against exports of 3 billion, and demonstrated that this situation is not sustainable. The senior official from the Reserve Bank also made a presentation on the issue of the liquidity in Zimbabwe, as well as the challenges that we have experienced in terms of cash, and that much of these problems can be attributed to the surge of imports. And imports which are also not very critical to Zimbabwe, because we do now produce some of the products that we are importing. We stressed to South Africa that we would like to continue to import raw materials from them. We will continue to import capital good items from them, but that we believe that we need to give a breathing space to our manufacturing sector, to give them time to retool, to re-equip. Hence the measures that we have taken. And these measures don't constitute a ban, because where we see gaps in demand and supply, we are allowing our business people to import. We'll still allow individuals to import items for individual consumption. We also have exemptions for our diplomats, exemptions for Zimbabweans returning to Zimbabwe. And we also have exemptions for those goods associated with inheritance and such associated matters. We also emphasize the point that these measures are time-bound. They are not there forever, and the time will be determined or will vary from one sector to another. And that we've put together a monitoring and evaluation committee which will continuously assess the impact of these measures. The presentation which we made were well received by our counterparts. South Africa emphasized that They cherish the good relations between our two countries, and they also acknowledge the role that trade plays in the economies of our two countries, and also the need for us to cooperate within the framework of industrialization in the SADC region as well as beyond. South Africa welcomed the move by Zimbabwe to go there and explain particularly the justification for the measures that we have taken. They did regret negative reports that have been circulating in the media on these measures. Which were more of making reference to issues of South Africa resorting to measures to retaliate against Statutory Instrument 64 and other unfounded sentiments that were expressed. So South Africa welcomed the move to explain the justification for these measures. They were also keen to know if we could avail them with the various timeframes for the various sectors. As I indicated to you that these measures are time-bound, they suggested that they would also want to know the sort of the different timeframes for the particular sectors. They also felt that it was important for us also to explain the background to these measures to other members of the Committee of Trade Ministers of Trade when we meet at the end of this month. We also explained to them that when we took these measures, we advised the SADC Secretariat of what Zimbabwe was going to do and why it was going to do so. We also promised SADC Secretariat that we were going to give them a detailed justification, product by product, company by company, to demonstrate the effect of imports and other factors on our industry. This is an exercise that we are currently working on, and the Reserve Bank is also doing a similar exercise, but really focusing on monetary policy. But again, as additional information for us to submit to SADC. I did emphasize that Zimbabwe does honor the obligations that we have entered into with other countries within our regional grouping, and that Zimbabwe was actually the champion of the industrialization strategy for SADC, and therefore would want to play its part along with other member states. South Africa also took this opportunity to advise us of their new initiative, which is called the Trade Invest Africa Initiative, which was launched on the 15th of July this year. Trade Invest Africa Initiatives aims to be the coordination and implementation arm of the Department of Trade and Industry to achieve the goals of South Africa's economic strategy, which involves: 1, exports of value-added goods. In other words, they are focused on value addition just like we do. But more importantly, Trade Invest Africa also talks about South Africa increasing the levels of intra-Africa investments by facilitating outward investments by South African companies and entities to the rest of Africa, including Zimbabwe. So South Africa is more of saying, look, we cannot play our role in industrialization by focusing on just driving our exports without engaging African countries in matters of investment. So it's, as I said earlier on, they took this opportunity to share with us the current efforts that the South African government has taken in terms of driving the industrialization agenda. That then concluded our discussions, and we hope that when we meet next time, we will also consider the progress that we will have taken on some of the decisions that we made yesterday. But by and large, it was a very good meeting, very constructive, very informative, and it was our desire that we were going to, because our two major trading partners remain South Africa, as followed by Zambia. We would have wanted to do the same with Zambia, but with the situation at the moment in Zambia, where they are really busy with their campaigns, and I think the elections should be there next week, we believe that probably we'll take the matter with them once they go through the elections and once a new government is in place. But suffice to mention that some of the measures that we have taken, I had a prior discussion with the Minister of Industry and Trade in Zambia, and she was in the picture of what we're going to do. But we were still going to formalize that engagement. But as I said, we will have to wait until the elections are over. So that's conclude what I just wanted to share with you. The first question on retaliation, there's been never any communication to me prior to our meeting or at this meeting that there's going to be any retaliatory action from South Africa. I would also wonder what sort of, to retaliate against what? We have not banned any importation. We are only regulating, which is within the power of any country to do so. In terms of the World Trade Organization, a country can resort to what is called safeguard measures if there is evidence that there is a surge of imports that would affect its manufacturing sector. So this is not a new phenomenon. It happens. Hence, there is that provision within the World Trade Organization. There is also a provision within the SADC Protocol on Trade when situations like this happen. And there is a process that you have to follow. And that is a process of advising, or what we call notification, which is what we did before we issued Statutory Instrument 64, and which I said we are following up with giving the detailed information on that justification. So I would be surprised if South Africa would look at retaliation. In my view, I don't see any grounds. If they are not happy, we will engage. That's why we have bilateral discussions. That's what we have a standing bilateral arrangement for discussing trade issues. And I think it is common practice that when issues such as these take place and countries are affected by actions taken by another country, we engage and we discuss. And first of all, discussions are carried out, as I said, at technical level, at ministerial level, and if we believe that there is a need to scale them up, we'll then do so within the confines of SADC. Your other question was on the 112 products. Unfortunately, I can't really be in a position to list them. As you know, there is a process which is for tariff phase down within SADC. There are certain products that we have agreed, certain levels of duties that we have agreed, and South Africa then indicated that they wanted the Zimbabwe government to reduce certain duties or certain levels of duties on some of the products. We then asked them to make a priority list of those goods that they think are of importance to them, and they then gave us a list of 112 products which they want us to consider in terms of reducing duties or removing duties. And what we have discussed is that we are carrying out those consultations for us to get back to them. Now, when you also make reference to the time frame, if you recall, we have given a period of 2 to 3 years for the measures that we have taken in terms of the removal of products from the open general import license. We have given 2 to 3 years, and therefore what we need now to come is to be specific. Is it 2 years? Which sector are we talking of when we talk of 2 years? Maybe 2.5 years, up to 3 years. And that's the work that the Monitoring and Evaluation Committee is working on at the moment, apart from coming out with their terms of reference as they monitor and evaluate the impact of the statutory instruments. So 2 to 3 years is what we are looking at. I indicated to you that we agreed that we will come back with a full response to these 112 products within 2 weeks' time. And we also indicated that at that time, in 2 weeks' time, when we also give the response to 112, we will also have finalized our detailed justification of those products that we have removed from the open general import license. I gave that time frame because it's work in progress. We are already at an advanced level in terms of the justification that you give to SADC is quite detailed in terms, as I said, there is a lot of information that we have to give, and that information comes from the companies, comes from the individual sectors, comes from your CZI, your ZNCC, your business association, and all that information is put together as part of your justification. And we believe that it's not a difficult thing to do. It's just that it takes some time. But as I said, we had already started to do that. So what we need to do is just to make sure that we verify this information, that it's accurate, and as I said to my counterpart in South Africa, that in 2 weeks' time we should be able to provide that information, not only to SADC, but also to other ministers of trade within SADC. I think I have. Is there another question?
So there was no
South African
No, I can't speak for them. I wouldn't know what. I'm just giving information. No, what is an ultimatum?
The requirement that you do such and such by such.
No, I suggested to them that within 2 weeks we should be able to do A, B, C, D. So it's not an ultimatum. I gave them the time myself because we've already started on the work. There's a lot of work that is taken on these 112 products already. What we need is just to get in touch, to consult our other ministries, as I said, agriculture, etc. The work on the products that were removed from the open general import license, the moment we issued the statutory instrument, we had already started on that work. But as I said, it takes some time. So I've indicated to them that, look, I think in 2 weeks' time we should be ready. We could be ready probably next week, but I just gave them indication that we should be having that information and have submitted that to SADC and also to other members within SADC by in 2 weeks' time.
Last round of questions. I think we'll take one of the minutes. I'll take 3 more questions if there are any. Yes, sister.
Thank you. First, where is the next meeting going to be held? In 2 weeks' time. And then secondly, is government considering putting in place some special measures to assist the companies to boost their capacity utilization in the next 2 to 3 years?
Thank you. The first question, it's still something that we will discuss. I'm not so sure. The indication was just the time frame, but the meeting could be in South Africa, could be here, or could be on the sidelines of the SADC summit in Swaziland. The second question, which I think is an important one, what other measures, special measures to support these companies which have been affected by the statutory instrument? The support in terms of statutory instrument 6.4 is just a component of a broad interventions that we are employing to ensure that our industry grows and is able to compete. Now, one of the factors, important factors, affecting our industry has been lack of funding. Lack of funding to retool, to re-equip. And I will give you an example that Keynes, he had almost gone, and Keynes benefited from DMAF and acquired certain pieces of equipment, new equipment, modern equipment, and that had an effect of bringing life to Keynes, which then even made it more attractive to investors who then came in to invest more into Keynes, hence the position that Keynes is at the moment. But as you know, DMAF was not adequate enough to cater for a number of companies that needed it. Our financial institutions didn't have the funding for industry. Even in cases where there was funding, that money was very expensive and short-term in nature. And you cannot run a manufacturing sector when you rely on short-term money. So what we are now doing is we are putting a fund. It could be in the form, it could be the extension of DMAF as well as ZREF. In other words, we are sourcing for more funding for these facilities. But this time, it's not, funds are not just there for anyone who is applying. We then target for those critical sectors whom we are supporting through SI 64, and then channel funds for them to buy new equipment, for them to adopt new technology and retool. So there is the added assistance in terms of making funds available for recapitalization. Well, probably just let me clarify something. There might be a confusion on the products that were removed from OGRL, which are the products covered by SI 64, and the 112 products that I made reference to. The two are different. This 112 is not a removal from OGRL. It's to do with tax, with duty. So it's a different issue. Now, the products that have been removed from OGRL are no secret because they are actually listed on the statutory instrument itself, and it's open for anyone to examine them. And what we are saying from our side is that these are products that we now produce in sufficient quantities to meet demand. We are producing water, and that's what we are saying. And there is evidence to that effect. So the South Africans have no problem with that. The issue of justification is a requirement for SADC, that when you take a measure, you must justify it. You can understand that some other country would just come up and say we are taking measures to this, to that. No, we can't run a region like that. We need to justify. We need to advise others, so that because we belong to the same grouping, and we need to play to the rules that we've set ourselves to do. So as a regional grouping, we have acknowledged that at times situations like the situation that we face in Zimbabwe, these situations do happen, but this is the process that we have to follow, and we are also following that procedure. But because of the time it takes to really do that work, we felt as government that we will carry out the measures, and then we then start to do the work to give the justification. and that's what they were referring to. So it's not just a requirement by South Africa. It's a requirement within the rules of SADC, and which, as a member, we need to comply. No, I don't think it's they are using the 112 to hit back, because this started long back. Statutory instrument is just recent, so the two are not related. And mind you, we have, for a time, we have had outstanding issues on both sides. I mentioned the issue of pharmaceuticals. We also have issues to do with tobacco, with cigarettes. So all the time, because of the volume of trade between the two countries, there are bound to be issues, concerns, and hence what we decided to do, to say, look, let's continue to meet regularly at official level. In some cases, some of these issues are resolved and finalized at official level, and some of them, others are then escalated upwards to ministers. So we'll continue to have issues as long as we continue to trade with each other.